Well, Mr. Speaker, I'd revel in the opportunity for the people of this country to have more than just by-elections to see what they think of this government opposite. Call a general election and see where the people are. Now he's backing the Prime Minister who wants to put taxes up 15 times. At this rate, Mr. Speaker, working people will be paying £500 billion more in tax by 2030. Mr. Speaker. And this is a man who once said high levels of government taxation was hurting UK competitiveness.
The United Kingdom just plunged into political chaos. In a move that stunned even the most seasoned insiders, King Charles has greenlit an early general election, and all eyes are now on Nigel Farage. But before the nation could process the shock, Rayner stormed into the spotlight and dropped a political bombshell that might change everything. In a stunning turn of events, King Charles, who has historically played a quiet role in constitutional matters, used his power to force a national election much earlier than expected. Behind the scenes, palace officials disclosed that the king had become more and more alarmed by the government's inability to go forward, the public's declining confidence, and the ongoing civil unrest that was boiling throughout the country. The Queen reportedly utilised a seldom-used right to formally advise the Prime Minister to dissolve Parliament, turning what had previously been silent irritation into direct intervention. However, Nigel Farage's extraordinary royal endorsement was the major surprise, not merely the call for an election. The King's remarks, while carefully worded to seem neutral, emphasised Farage as a singular voice reflecting the growing anxieties and aspirations of the people. A political maelstrom has been sparked by this subtle but obvious allusion to the divisive leader. Critics of the decision from all political parties denounced it as a disastrous violation of royal impartiality, even if Farage himself made an appearance live just after the announcement, boldly stating that the people are taking back their voice. Rayner grabbed centre stage as the media rushed to process the royal bombshell. She astonished reporters with her openness and defiance during an impromptu and heated press appearance outside Labour headquarters. She exposed what she called a coordinated erosion of democracy.
There's a number of issues that is causing child poverty, not least the issue around work and making work pay, which is one of the areas I'm proud we spent over got over 1 million people a pay rise.
But the simplest and most straightforward way would be to give people some money. So do you think lifting the cap on the two-child cap is a good idea or not?
Any measures that will alleviate poverty on some of the more poorest families is not a bad idea, but we've got to look at it in the round. There is other pressures as well as that, and that's why we've got a child poverty task force that are looking at those issues. And Trevor,
masked as populist empowerment, in front of a surprised crowd of reporters without a teleprompter or prepared words. In reference to weeks of covert conversations intended to render both Labour and the Conservatives politically irrelevant, Rayner charged Farage of arranging backdoor discussions with powerful royal advisors. Rayner, whose voice occasionally trembled with rage and incredulity, depicted a picture of treachery from an institution that has long claimed impartiality as well as from within the political elite. She declared, "This is the Crown entering the battlefield, and the battlefield is British democracy. This is not the Crown defending the Constitution." Her comments immediately provoked equal parts indignation and support. Social media took off in a matter of minutes. As thousands supported her fervent defence of democratic standards, number Rayner versus Farage became viral. Meanwhile, some accused her of undermining the monarchy and disregarding the people's will. While Labour MPs stood silently behind her, many of them clearly shaken by the day's swift events.
We're working, all three of my siblings now, and that is a way of being able to contribute and support your family. We've got to make sure that there's good, secure employment for people, that we bring down the energy and living costs for people.
Good jobs that pay well are more important than welfare benefits.
I absolutely believe that good, secure, well-paid jobs are the way out of poverty. I've seen it through my life. You know, she won't be able to help herself. We'll have to help her. I wanted to provide for my son, and many families want that opportunity at the moment, but they find they've got too much month at the end of their wage check at the moment.
Tory leaders issued statements denouncing her speech as unhinged. Beyond criticism, Rayner revealed her real bombshell in her speech. She disclosed that Labour had acquired classified documents detailing proposed measures that would be implemented during the first 100 days of a Farage-led administration. According to reports, the documents call for a major realignment of military spending toward domestic deployment, quick disengagement from European human rights responsibilities, and comprehensive reforms of immigration courts. Farage, she said, was planning to transform the nation into a surveillance-heavy, protest-hostile regime under a nationalist banner. Then, starting right away, Rayner challenged Farage to a series of live, unmoderated national debates. Her voice was ferocious. "Face me in front of the people. No scripts, no spin, no protection," she said, "if you believe you have the courage to govern this nation on the basis of division and royal favour." On live television, Farage quickly responded, still in shock from the King's statement and his own press victory lap. "Anytime, Angela. But when the truth hurts, don't cry." It took political analysts by surprise. This marked a new chapter in Rayner's public character, not only as a deputy leader, but also as a possible future prime minister, according to even those who were familiar with her combative approach. In response to complaints that Keir Starmer's cautious approach and quiet have left the party open to Farage's populist juggernaut, Labour officials acknowledged that talks are in progress to move Rayner into the lead role. The Conservatives, meanwhile, are in a complete meltdown. The abrupt announcement of a quick election, coupled with the King's covert backing of Farage, has further undermined Rishi Sunak's administration, which was already reeling from months of controversy and economic upheaval. Within an hour, cabinet sessions were scheduled. According to reports, the royal interference bordering on constitutional crisis infuriated Tory MPs. Reactions were visceral across the country. People started arguing, celebrating, booing, and speculating in train stations, pubs and streets and classrooms. Protest organisations rallied right away. Plans to hold large-scale protests in London over what they describe as a palace-backed coup wrapped in populism were announced by a combination of Republican, Liberal, and civil rights organisations. There were also opinions from foreign observers. In a well-crafted statement, the European Union expressed its deep concern over Britain's abrupt constitutional change, while Canadian and Australian politicians, whose countries still acknowledge the British Queen as head of state, remained conspicuously silent. The US State Department in Washington declared that it was monitoring events in the United Kingdom with great interest. Hours after the controversy, polls started to appear, indicating an instant boost for Farage's Reform UK party. However, the data also showed that Rayner herself was gaining support, especially from working-class and younger voters. It seems inevitable that politics will collide. The ramifications of today's action could be both personal and historical for King Charles. His defenders argue that the move was made in an effort to re-establish unity and decisiveness, while detractors are already charging him with creating a risky precedent that could jeopardise the foundation of constitutional monarchy. The United Kingdom is in entirely new territory tonight. A king has emerged from the darkness. They are handing the reins over to an outside populist. War has been proclaimed by a ferocious Labour deputy, and the electorate is left to deal with what could be the most turbulent election campaign in history. Just a minute ago, a simple statement turned into a generational conflict between stillness and thunder, tradition and revolution, and order and rebellion.